monogram rings displayed below the portrait. This man might have owned a similar ring, using it to seal personal and legal documents. The woman's hair is arranged in a fashionable Roman style, and she wears her best pearl and emerald jewelry. Look around this display case. Can't you imagine her trying on these necklaces and bracelets? She would probably have kept them in a beautifully decorated box, like the one in the case behind you. These lifelike portraits, painted in colored wax on wood panel, had an unusual purpose. Often made while the subject was young and healthy, they became masks for mummified bodies after death. In fact, traces of the linen body in these portraits demonstrate the value that people put on a fine appearance. But sometimes it could go too far. The letter you're about to hear was written in the 4th century by a man to his brother. He's describing the funeral ritual of a relative, Aeschines.
Aeschines had already been interred 3 days when his niece came to visit his tomb. She was dressed in purple, with a diaphanous veil over her hair, and she had decked herself with gold and precious stones. Seated upon a chair with double cushions and silver feet, she railed against the untimeliness of the misfortune, on the ground that Aeschines should have died either before her wedding or after it. Scarcely waiting for the 7th day, on which we had met for the funeral banquet, she mounted her mule cart and set out on her stately course with all her adornments. Next week she's preparing to display herself crowned with a towering headdress.
Hello, I'm the woman in the portrait. With a very elegant hairstyle and beautiful jewelry, if I do say so myself. That's my husband in the other portrait.
Good day to you.
These two lived in northern Egypt almost 2,000 years ago. Egypt was then part of the Roman Empire. Many different lands ruled by a powerful emperor in Rome. A little later, the emperors moved to the splendid city of Constantinople, what we call Istanbul in Turkey today. So Egypt became part of the new Byzantine Empire, which was very wealthy. Its markets were full of all kinds of luxuries: carved ivory, fragrant spices, brightly colored silks, and jewelry.
Actually, there's lots of jewelry from our times displayed in this case. See my favorite duck necklace? Which piece do you like best? Of course, none of it's as fine as the emeralds and pearls I'm wearing.
Oh, stop boasting about your new necklace. There are many objects in this case like ones we own. See the monogram ring displayed near my portrait? I used one like that to seal my personal documents with melted sealing wax.
Portraits like these were made when a person was young and healthy. Years later, when the person died, the body was wrapped in strips of linen cloth and made into a mummy. A portrait like this was laid over the mummy's face, like a mask. That way, people were buried looking as they did when they were young. The back of the woman's portrait still has bits of her linen burial wrappings sticking to it.